For years, I was a planner wannabe. It seemed like everybody around me had methods and structures to their day that I lacked. And it felt like I was always trying to get more done and lacking ability to follow through and get things done. It was a pattern in my life, and I grew honestly quite frustrated with it and wanted to change. But it really didn't seem like there was a way to change it. I would try what I saw my friends doing, and it wouldn't work for me. I would try printing out calendars from the internet, but I'd get frustrated when the pages got wrinkled and dirty on my counter. It just seemed like it just wasn't for me to be organized. Finally, one day, I happened upon a book called Cure Overwhelm Now, and I was fascinated. I was like, can it really be cured? But I'm also a pessimistic person. If it sounds too good to be true, I know that it probably is too good to be true. But even with that in my personality, I was driven to change. I knew some things needed to change in my life, and I was desiring to have less feelings of being overwhelmed. So I grabbed this book, and I learned a lot in this book. One of the main things I learned in this book was the lie that we've been fed in our society about multitasking. Multitasking is where we think we can do multiple things at the same time. We can check our email while talking on the phone, or we can listen to our children rattle on about something while balancing our checkbook. There's things that we think we can do well at the same time when really we can't. The book calls that task switching more than multitasking. And so we are really asking our brain to rapid fire switch back and forth between tasks, which is exhausting. Our brains do keep up, but there's a price to be paid, and it's exhaustion, it's losing track of things, it's not getting more done in less time. So even though I understood the concept, there was a practicality that was still missing. The book was great at opening my eyes to some of those principles, but it didn't fully explain how to get where I knew I wanted to be. So the next thing that I found was another book, I love books, called The Pomodoro Technique. Pomodoro in Italian means tomato, and it is based on the idea of the little tomato kitchen timers that some chefs use and some cooks use in their kitchen. The concept is that you can do anything for a short period of time. And so the book teaches you how to take a task that you need to do, choose to focus on it. Remember, it's kind of similar to the other book in that we do not multitask well. We need to have a single focus and get that one thing done well. So the book says set a timer, find your task that you're needing to get finished, whether it be checking your email or planning your grocery list or preparing for a meeting or writing a speech, and focus on that for 25 minutes. For me, I don't have a little tomato, but I do have this cute little red timer that I use. And I'll send my kids, or not send my kids, I'll tell my kids, I'm getting ready to do the Pomodoro, or I'll text my husband so he knows not to be concerned if I don't respond during that 25-minute window. But for 25 minutes, I'll focus on one thing, and I'll make sure I get that one thing done. And it has been hugely beneficial for me to train my brain to focus on one thing. During that time period, if something comes into my head that feels somewhat urgent, I'll just jot a quick note down on a piece of paper, but I do not let myself move from one task to the other. It does not help to do that rapidly throughout my day. So set the timer for 25 minutes. If a task requires more than 25 minutes, my timer goes off and I'm still not done, take a quick 3 to 4 minute break and then come back to it. Set the timer again. This helps not to spend too long on tasks. Our brains and our bodies can only handle a certain period of time. So this 25 minutes helps us to know there's an end in sight, which sometimes is important, especially on tasks that are more tedious or aren't as exciting to accomplish. The other thing that I've utilized along with that is buying a good planner. We all need systems that work for us. I mentioned earlier about my printing calendar pages and they get ugly, and that didn't work for me. So I, last Christmas, asked for a planner, and I've got this beautiful planner that has beautiful calendar pages in it, and I enjoy using this planner because it's pretty. It could be set on my counter, and I don't mind it sitting there. It's been very important to have a method that works for me. It's got goal sheets in it. It's got habit tracking sheets in it. It does so much more than just plan my week, and that's been critical for me. So in closing, I was going to share with you how I utilized this principle just this morning. When I woke up this morning, this is what my kitchen looked like. I'm not proud of this. It was kind of messy, and we had watched a show the night before and just didn't have the energy to clean up my kitchen, which is honestly quite typical. I don't usually clean my kitchen before I go to bed. It usually waits till the next day. The question always is, how far into the day do I get before it gets cleaned back up? And so this morning I determined I'm going to get it clean this morning. I knew this speech was coming and it could be a great example. So I set my timer for 25 minutes and I set off to clean my kitchen. The thing with tasks is frequently they take less time than we think they will take, and that is exactly what happened with me this morning. So this is my before picture of my kitchen. After, this is what it looked like. It only took me 15 minutes to get this task completed. In my mind, it was going to take 45 minutes, and so I was tempted to wait. Like, oh, I'll clean it up at lunchtime, or I'll clean it up when I get ready to do supper. But I decided to go ahead and just tackle it. And so frequently, just getting started is the most important first step. The Pomodoro book had an important quote. Basically, he encourages us that in our minds, we must replace I must finish with where can I start? We have a task that has to get done. Instead of putting the pressure on the finish line, put the pressure on where do I start? And then replace this project is so big and so important with I can take one small step. So managing our time in manageable chunks and managing the tasks in smaller pieces is critical to getting more done in less time. So I hope this little video has been helpful. I hope it's been inspirational, that you can find a planner that will work for you and find systems and methods that work for you. Overwhelm does not have to be the defining mark of our lives. We can live lives that we are in control of and that we are in charge of. Thank you.